Welcome to Fighting Stats, the ultimate channel for MMA fans who love statistics and betting breakdowns. I'm your host, Art C, and I'm here to get you ready for the upcoming UFC fights. In this series, I'll be watching tape and providing my real time analysis on how I think the fights are going to go. I'll be watching for fighters' strengths, weaknesses, tendencies, and overall strategies, pairing that with Fighting Stats' exclusive UFC stats not available anywhere else to give you a prediction on how I think the fights are going to go and ultimately who's going to win. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome to Fighting Stats. Welcome back to Fighting Stats. I'm your host, Art C, and today we are breaking down the UFC 297 fight between Jasmine Jasudavicius and Priscilla Cachoeira. Now, we've spent time taping the Priscilla Cachoeira side. We've taped the Jasmine Jasudavicius side. We've gotten our detailed fight stats here. So we're going to get right into it. First off, we're going to go into the stats. We're going to find out what each fighter likes to do. And then we're going to go into my breakdown in terms of how I think the fight's going to go. And then we're going to finish off with some prop lines, try to work out the numbers, see where the best bets are. So let's get into it here. So we pulled up our fighting stats, tail of the tape. Jasmine Jasudavicius here is going to be on the blue side. Priscilla is going to be on the red side. So Jasmine here is going to be 5'7", going to have 3 inches of reach. Looks about the same height on paper. Jasmine over the UFC career has been is 3-2 in the UFC. 100% of her wins coming by decision. 100% of her losses coming by decision. Worth noting there. On the Priscilla Cachoeira side, 4-5 in the UFC. 75% of her wins coming by KO. 25% of wins coming by decision. And of her losses, 60% of them coming by submission. 40% of them coming by decision. So right off the bat there, Jasmine looks like she's going to go to the distance based on what we've seen there. And then Priscilla looks like she has a weakness to submissions, but does have some KO wins there. So let's get into the offensive striking. Jasmine Jasudavicius offensive striking, 73% of her distance strikes have been her strikes landed have been at a distance, 18% of them in the clinch and 9% of them on the ground. So a little bit busy, works them through. In terms of target breakdown, 79% of them towards the head, 19 targets towards the body, and only 3% to the legs. Jasmine not a huge leg kicker there. Head striking accuracy, 33% head strike accuracy, 63 to the body, and 82 at the legs, but again, not a heavy leg kicker. Average strikes thrown by round by Jasmine here, 34 in round 1, drops a little bit to 32 in round 2, and then pops straight up into round 3, strikes thrown. We're going to pair that with the grappling. It'll sort of make sense there. And then head strikes go up, same thing in round 3, same with body and legs. So we won't get into the detailed numbers here, but we will pair them with the sort of some of the fights where she wasn't able to get the fight down to the ground. That's when the numbers in terms of striking land up, but we'll keep on going here. So defensive striking, we're going to keep an eye on this one. Strike breakdown against 90% of the strikes absorbed have been at a distance, 7% have been in a clinch, and then again 3% on the ground. Target against, so 75% of the strikes landed against her have been towards the head, 13 towards the body, 11% to the legs. Head strike defense, 37% of the shots towards Jasmine have landed, 76 towards the body have landed, and 92 towards the leg have landed. Strikes absorbed by round pretty high at 42 in round 1, 39 in round 2, and 55 in round 3. And then same thing with the head strikes absorbed by round, definitely goes up. Head strikes up to 84 there. So worth noting here, has never been knocked down. On the offensive striking, no knockdowns in her UFC career as well, and does, again, mix in the clinch and ground strikes. Priscilla Cachoeira, offensive striking here, 82% of her strikes have come from a distance, 12% in the clinch, and 6% to the ground. Also targets the head at 83% of the time, 13% to the body, 4% to the legs. Head strike accuracy, somewhat similar to the other side, 38% head strike accuracy, 69 body strike accuracy, and 76 to the legs. And similar, her average strikes thrown by round do go up, Looks like 29 strikes in round 1, 44 in round 2, and 66 in round 3. Same with the head strikes landed there. Round 3 numbers, most of any round there. Priscilla Cachoeira has 2 knockdowns in her UFC career, knocking down Ariane Lipski, winning that fight there, and then winning by Shane Dobson. Both of those she cashed as the plus 175 underdog, actually, winning by round 1 TKO. Priscilla, defensive striking here, 68% of her strikes absorbed have been at a distance, 8% to the ground, and almost 1 in 4 strikes absorbed have been ground strikes to Priscilla. She gets taken down and ground and pounded there. 86% target against towards the head. So when she does land, it's towards the head. 10% to the body, only 4% to the leg. Distance striking accuracy, not great. 51% head strike defense. So more than half of the strikes thrown towards the head are landing on Cachoeira, 75% towards the body, 87% towards the legs there. And same thing with her output. Her her absorbed damage absorbed 40% or 40 strikes in round 1, 63 in round 2, and 86 in round 3. Has been knocked down once against Luana Carolina there. And then otherwise, again, she has been eating some ground strikes here. This one I want to sort of headlight here. Ground strikes around, ground landed. So she's eaten 145 ground strikes, most of them coming from Valentina Shevchenko, 21 of them to Priscilla Cachoeira, to Jillian Robertson, 34 of them, 34, 84, so a big chunk of them. 84 out of the 145 have been against Shevchenko. That's understandable. Shevchenko's a beast. Jillian Robertson, obviously great on the ground as well. Otherwise, if you take away those, 10, 14, 18, about 30 strikes, ground strikes landed there. So Priscilla Cachoeira, if you do look, she does a good job on the ground of limiting the amount of damage, really just controlling the posture here. So we're going to go into the Jasmine, the grappling report. So we're pulling that up here. Average takedowns by round offensively. Jasmine shoots 1.6 takedowns in round 1, shoots up to 2.2 in round 2, and 1.6 in round 3, landing about 0.6 in round 1, 1 in round 2, and 0.2 in round 3. Not the best takedown records in round 3. Looks like most of her reversals come from round 2. Does not have a submission attempt. Worth noting. All of those takedowns, not one submission attempt. Let's go into it here. 28 takedowns against, or has attempted 28 takedowns. 9 of them have been successful. Less than 50% takedown accuracy. Does not have any sub attempts. Does have 1 reversal there against Kay Hansen. I do want to go over the takedown accuracy from her. I think that the round winning depends on the takedown and the control time. So you can see some of the rounds that she won. She lost round 1 to Tracy Cortez with only 5 seconds of control time. Even lost round 2 with 112 seconds of control time, 2 takedowns. And then lost round 3. So against Maverick, she was able to control her in round 1, winning that. Round 2, 201 there as well. Against Gabriel Fernandez, anytime to get the takedown. So Fernandez 1, 2, 3 had 4 takedowns, won all 3 rounds there. Against Natalia Silva, did not get any takedowns, did not win any rounds there. And against Kay Hansen, got 2 takedowns in rounds 1 and 2, won those rounds. In round 3, did not get a takedown, ended up losing that round. So just wanted to highlight how dependent Jasmine Jasudavicius is against the takedown. Defensive grappling, I'm not going to go much into it. I just don't think Priscilla Cachoeira is going to throw much grappling at her. But at a high level, she has seen 15 takedown attempts. 3 of them have been successful. 2 of them against Natalia Silva, to be honest, and then 1 against Kay Hansen. Jasmine has a decent sprawl here. Again, Priscilla Cachoeira not going to attempt many takedowns. Has attempted 3 UFC takedowns in her career. Only 1 of them has been successful. She probably wants to keep this fight on the feet there. The red defensive grappling. This is what we want to really pay attention to. So Priscilla Cachoeira, defensively grappling, she has seen, or an average of 1.6 takedowns attempted around 1, 2.8 against in round 2, and 1 in round 3. She's allowed 0.8 in round 1, 0.5 in round 2, and 0.5 in round 3. Does have a couple of sub attempts against as well. So she has seen some sub attempts. Total takedowns attempted against, 35 against, 12 have been successful, so decent takedown defense. And I'm going to say some of those numbers are propped up a little bit. So let's look at the Gina Manzani. She shot 6 takedowns in round 2, completely gassed. Those were half-ass takedowns, only 1 of them being successful. Referee actually standing them up after that takedown and then wasn't able to get a takedown again. So a little bit inflated there. Same thing with Miranda Maverick. She shoots in these like naked takedowns. I did say that in the breakdown that the takedowns probably look the takedown numbers look probably better than what they actually are. When Jillian Robertson able to level change, get the takedown. Manzani in the first round landed 3 of 3 in the first round there. Same thing with Maverick in the first round there. Shevchenko goes perfect with takedowns as well. So from what I've seen, the takedown defense not great, but the numbers showing a different story just based on how many attempts that she's seen. We're going to go into the fighting stats time breakdown. Here's what's important here. So both girls, Jasmine here, 53% of her fight time has been standing. 29% of her fight time has been on the ground. She does seem to win minutes when she is on the ground. When she's standing, she does not. 6% of the time she's in the clinch. 9% she's attacking a takedown, and only 3% she's defending a takedown. When she is on top, Jasmine Jasudavicius is on top on the ground. 40% of the time she's in half guard. She just controls chest to chest. She does look like she's setting up a Kimura, but that doesn't actually go for it. 90% of the time she's in full guard. 17% of the time she's in half guard. Only 5% of the time she got to full mount. 12% of the time in back mount, and 8% in north-south there. So from what I've seen, again, no sub attempts, but real more just top control, mostly hanging out in half guard and full guard there. On the bottom, we won't go into it, but 89% of her bottom time has been in half guard, 11% in north-south. So let's go over to the Priscilla Cachoeira side. And again, I'm not concerned about offensively grappling, but Priscilla Cachoeira, 49% of her fight time has spent standing. 46% of her fight time has been on the ground. She does find some time off of her back, so that's a big factor here. Almost split standing and ground time. When she's on top, we don't need to go into it. She's in back mount here, but when she's on the bottom here, 45% of the time she keeps her opponent in half guard, 9% of the time in full guard, 16% in side control, does give up 23% in full mount, and then 2% in back mount, doesn't really give up the back mount, really controlling the posture there. So that's worth noting that if she does get taken down, looks like Jasmine again, or looks like Cachoeira spends most of the time in half guard. Same thing with Jasmine there. When she's on top, most of the time is in half guard as well. So I do think that if the fight does go down to the ground, it's probably going to end up with Jasmine in half guard for most of the time. Let's go into the striking tendencies. What we saw, I'm going to start from the Cachoeira side. She loves to load up on that right hand. So here, 18% of her shot selection is that right hand over the top, 70% of that jab as well. She does throw some right elbows, 3% as right elbows there. Only 8% kicking, worth noting there. Single strikes for Jasmine, 90% single shot rate. Looks like 24% of her strikes are going to be the single twos. 23% of them is going to be the single jabs, 8% is going to be the 1-2, and 7% is going to be the double jab and the 2-1. So again, she's pretty straight with her punches, not a lot of hooks, just comes forward, not a ton of power on those punches either. So let's get into the breakdown. Those are what the numbers say. From what we saw, I think both fighters are going to open up orthodox, okay? And Jasmine Jasudavicius is going to have a big height and reach, on paper, I think she's going to have a height and reach advantage, but Priscilla, not a crazy kicker. She does throw some outside leg kicks early in the rounds and then seems to fade off with the leg kicks early there. So most of the times it's going to be Priscilla going to have to close the distance. She likes to throw the hooks, so she'll have to stand in the pocket, make it a dirty fight. Jasmine will have to stay at range, pop in the 1-2, but that's not where her strengths lie. For Jasmine to win this fight, she's going to rely, and it's really going to come down to the takedown. We've seen time and time again for Jasmine, if she can get the takedown, then her top control is pretty good. She ends up winning those rounds. If she cannot get the takedown, she seems to lose the rounds on the feet to different strikers like Kay Hansen in round 3, Maverick, I think, as well there, and Natalia Silva in all 3 rounds where she couldn't get the takedown. So we went over those numbers. If Jasmine can't get the takedown, then I think she'll control time on the ground. If she cannot, then it's Priscilla standing up and winning time and minutes standing. So it really comes down to the takedown defense from Cachoeira. Most of the takedowns attempted from Jasmine will come from the clinch up against the cage. So you'll see Jasmine trying to clinch, push Cachoeira up in the cage. She does like the outside trip. We've seen Priscilla Cachoeira get taken down many times from that outside trip, but Priscilla Cachoeira does a good job of fighting the takedowns. She's posting, she's trying to get back up against the fence. It becomes a lot of work for Jasmine to drag the fight down to the ground. Meanwhile, when she does get the fight eventually down to the ground, again, she'll hang out in side control, controlling position most of the times, a little bit of ground and pound sort of thing. But for me, yeah, it's going to come down to the takedown. I think Jasmine can get the takedown based from what I've seen in terms of the takedown defense from Priscilla. She probably gets it in round one. She probably controls her, doesn't do a ton of damage, hangs out, wins round number one. Round number two, I think it's going to be somewhat of the same. Priscilla's going to throw these overhand rights. Jasmine does eat some big shots. She does get, and she can land that left hook. Actually, Priscilla can land the left hook she likes to throw and the overhand right. So both of those strikes are open. But again, it's coming down to the takedown. I think in the second round, I'll have to guess that Jasmine probably gets the takedown in round two. Similar to round three, will control her, winning rounds 2 and 1. In round three, we saw on the output there, let me just bring it up and why I wanted to highlight it here. Jasmine Jasudavicius, her offensive grappling, you can see that her takedowns, her successful takedowns in round three, only 0.2 average by round. So that's why it results in a lot of Jasmine's round threes standing. And then here on the output here, you can see Jasmine's output standing, 60% thrown, or 60 strikes thrown in round three, 55 strikes absorbed in round three. I can see a case where Priscilla Cachoeira is, again, she's down 2 rounds. She does come forward and throw some heat in rounds 3. I can see it being a brawl in round 3. Priscilla Cachoeira, if she doesn't find the finish in round 3, probably wins that round there. So I think Jasmine's probably going to win a 29-28 unanimous decision, if I'm being honest. I do think the round 2 could be a toss-up round with Priscilla being able to stuff it or doing some more damage on the feet. But I think that's how it's going to go. Pretty straightforward for me. I think it goes to decision most of the time there. For finishes wise, it's going to be having Priscilla Cachoeira getting caught in a submission. Again, she doesn't really give up her back a ton of times, so it's not going to be from rear naked choke. It might be from an arm bar, but Jasmine doesn't have any sub attempts. All the time in control on top. No sub attempts from the top. Cachoeira pretty durable in terms of punches taken. I think they call her Zombie Girl or something like that. So if Jasmine doesn't attempt any submissions, and Priscilla Cachoeira has a chin and can take some damage, really Jasmine's probably going to win the decision here most of the times. Again, just from top control, 29-28, 30-27 if she can get all 3 takedowns. Priscilla Cachoeira is live for a knockdown or KO win coming from the first round, big shots. She does have 2 round 1 KOs. It's possible. Or late in the third when Jasmine starts to throw down, can Priscilla sort of take over? So those are sort of the outcomes that I see. I don't really see any Priscilla's submission. So let's go into the numbers. Let's put some pen to paper and see where those lines actually end up here. So I've pulled up my handy dandy tracker, my matrix here. So we're keeping Jasmine here on the blue side. We're putting Priscilla Cachoeira on the red side. What I like to do is I like to go through the numbers, the different situation, different scenarios of the fight, how it could play out, assign a ranking or percentage to them, and then finding out where the best bets are depending on the current lines. So let's start. Jasmine Jasudavicius by TKO KO. I think it's possible, but probably not on the feet. I don't think Jasmine has enough power on the feet to win there. If it does come, it's probably going to be from ground and pound, if I'm being honest. Priscilla Cachoeira, because she could get mounted, and we've seen Jillian Robertson rain down some ground and pound on her, not really able to buck her off. So I think if it comes, it's probably going to be from TKO. I'm going to leave it maximum 10%. I don't see it being much more than that. Tempted to go even 5% there. Jasmine Jasudavicius by submission. So I think it's possible if she attacks him, but she hasn't attacked a submission yet in her UFC career. That has me alarmed. I'm going to leave it at 10% as well because I think it's possible. It could be an armbar. I don't think rear naked choke is likely. Doesn't go for front chokes either. So it could be like an armbar. Could be not really a triangle either. Maybe an arm triangle. Not a ton of subs, but I think most of her win equity is tied to decision here, tied to the takedowns. I'm going to start with 40%. I think the takedowns do come, and I think she can ride top control, so we'll leave that 40% for now. For the Priscilla Cachoeira to win by TKO, I do think it is live. She does throw power. She throws the overhand right. She throws that left hook. She even throws that rear uppercut that seems to land as well. I'm not discounting that. No real ground and pound either. So again, the TKO could come early in round number 1, or it could come late in round number 3. If I have 10% from Jasmine, I'm going to keep it 15% at least for Priscilla. To win by submission, we're going to say 0. I'm okay with that. Just I don't think she's going to attack the ground. Maybe it's a Pricila Cahoeira by submission, by front choke, ninja choke, guillotine. If Jasmine shoots in, leaves her neck out, maybe Priscilla can lock in a front choke there. But otherwise, on the ground, she's not throwing up an arm bar. She's not really throwing up a triangle. She's sort of a fish out of water on the ground. So I'm going to leave it at 0%. And then Priscilla Cachoeira to win by decision. Honestly, it's pretty live as well. Trying to think of a number. 1 in 4, 20%. 1 in 5, it's probably at least 20%. So we'll start with 20% for now. So leaves us 35%. We're going to add it to the Priscilla decision there. Jasmine decision. Okay, so I think that sounds about right. So let's recap here. Jasmine to win by KO, 10%, plus 900 or better. Jasmine to win by submission, 10%, plus 900 or better. And Jasmine to win by decision, 45% or plus 122 or better, for a total money line of 65% or minus 186. Priscilla to win by KO, 15%. Sounds about right. Priscilla to win by sub, 0%. Sounds about right as well. And Priscilla to win by decision, 20% as well. Jasmine does have 2 decision losses on her fight card already. Total money line on the Priscilla side, 35% or plus 186 or better. Okay, so I do think Jasmine wins. I think she wins at 65% of the clip. Even if I took away 5%, giving it to 70%. Let's see if I change this up to 70% minus 233 or better. Let's go over to the odds. Let's see where the odds are at now. We go to fightodds.io. Sorry, we'll go down to the bottom here. Wait, what are these? Oh, this is last night. Sorry. All right. UFC 297, Strickland versus DuPlessis. We are looking for the Jasmine Jasudavicius side. Jasmine minus 400. And it's dropping. So it opened up minus 400-ish, popped up to 350, topped out at minus 325. There's some buyback, and it looks like all the money coming in on the Jasmine Jasudavicius side. Plus 300 for Priscilla Cachoeira. So minus 400 and plus 300. We're going to enter that into our sheet here. Minus 400 plus 300. Man, oh man. All right. So we have our 8th Kelly criterion calculator formula here. At minus 400, the current odds, we are saying that Jasmine should be minus 186. It's telling us to avoid that side, minus 9.4 probability against. On the Priscilla Cachoeira side, we think that the odds should be 186. We're getting plus 300, so it's recommending a 1.7 unit bet on Priscilla Cachoeira. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's going to be dog or pass. I cannot lay the minus 400 against. I've seen it too many times where if Jasmine does not get the takedowns, then she ends up losing the rounds. Priscilla Cachoeira can be pretty strong in the clinch. I know the takedown numbers show a little bit better, but she is a little bit complacent off of her back. But I think all of that is built into the line. That's why Jasmine's minus 400. Nobody's laying minus 400 if you thought it was a stand-up fight. It's baked into the line thinking that Jasmine should be able to control Priscilla Cachoeira, right out top control. Minus 400, too steep for me. I'm not going to play it. For me, dog or pass. I did want to highlight the total line because it just came out today. We're going to bring up the total. Jasmine Jasudavicius. Oh, come on, open up. Okay. The over 2.5 rounds, minus, whoa, man. I didn't see it open up minus 25. Minus 125, dropped down to minus 200 right away. Got some buyback at minus 200, back down to minus 160, up to 165 there. So whoever opened up minus over 2.5 hit that really hard for the over 2.5, dropped down right away and slowly creeping its way back up. I like the over 2.5 minus 165. Again, we have fight to go to decision. Not to go at 35% plus 186. Goes to decision at 65%, minus 187 here. So if I put in minus 165, it's recommending basically a 1 unit play on goes to decision. Again, that's the goes to decision line. We took the over 2.5 line. We got that bet in. I do think Priscilla Cachoeira is live to finish in round 3 by KO at the tail end of round 3. So it's possible we hit the over 2.5 and you get some Priscilla Cachoeira KO round 3. So again, dog or pass for me. I think that's how the fight's going to play out. Let me know below if I'm missing anything. But for me, I thought that this breakdown was pretty straightforward. I just don't know where I rate that takedown attempt. I'm not guaranteed that Jasmine Jasudavicius is like some elite wrestler. Again, most of her takedowns coming from the clinch and outside trip. So worth noting that. Priscilla pretty strong in the clinch as well. So that's where I see the numbers are. Again, my name is Art C. Join us on patreon.com/fightingstats for all of our best bets and plays. You won't want to miss it there. My name is Art C. Thanks for watching. Thanks again. All right, guys. Well, that is it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this sort of content, make sure you smash the like button, hit the subscribe. You'll get notified anytime we put out new content. And remember, here at Fighting Stats, I lead a team of expert data scientists. We are working around the clock to produce these exclusive UFC stats, not available anywhere else. We do our tape study. We pair them with our stats. We put out our best bets. We put our best bets to patreon.com/fighting stats. That's where we put all our analysis, all of our stats. Join patreon.com/fighting stats to get exclusive access. Recently, we just hit $82,000. Yes, that's right. $82,000 parlay on White Fight. We used our fighting stats to get there, and we won a massive payday. Our Patreon members had exclusive access to that, so they shared in the profits there. So don't miss out. Make sure you subscribe today. Again, my name is Art C. This is Fighting Stats. Thanks for watching.